There's a reason most people never reach their potential. Not because they don't have talent, not because they don't have dreams, but because they've never learned how their mind truly works. They wake up every day controlled by habits they didn't choose, emotions they don't understand, and fears they never learned to face. They think they're making decisions, but their psyche, that hidden system of beliefs, insecurities, and subconscious patterns is making them instead. And until you understand the way your psyche operates, you'll keep wondering why you start things with fire and end them in ashes. You'll keep saying, I'll change tomorrow, not realizing that the part of you running your life doesn't respond to words. It responds to consistency, repetition, and emotion. The truth is, your psyche is not your enemy. It's your blueprint. It's the software running the hardware of your body and actions. And if you never update it, you'll keep living inside an outdated version of yourself. One built by pain, by doubt, by the opinions of people who didn't see your potential. You can change your clothes, change your goals, even change your surroundings. But if you don't reprogram the mind that created your current reality, nothing will stick. Because your psyche always pulls you back to what feels familiar, not what's best for you. That's why people sabotage themselves right before they succeed. That's why they quit when they're close. The mind says, this feels different, this feels dangerous, and it drags you back into the comfort of old chaos. But what if you learned how to flip the script? What if you stopped being a prisoner of your old identity and became the architect of a new one? See, the psyche can be rebuilt, but not by accident. You've got to dig deep. You've got to confront the hidden stories you've been telling yourself for years. Stories like I'm not enough, I always fail, or people like me don't win. You've got to expose those lies for what they are. Survival programs written when you didn't know better. Then you replace them with truth, with power, with clarity. That's how transformation starts. Not with motivation, but with understanding. So if you've ever wondered why you can't stay consistent, why you keep falling into the same pattern, why your mind feels like a battlefield, this is your wake-up call. The problem isn't your willpower, it's your wiring. And the moment you learn how to control the system instead of letting it control you, everything changes. Because when you master your psyche, you don't just change your mindset, you change your entire destiny. And the best part, no one can take that from you. So stay with me till the end. Because what you're about to learn could completely rewrite the story of who you become. Motivation is powerful. It's that spark that lights the fire inside of you, the rush of energy that makes you want to run through walls and chase your dreams with everything you've got. But here's the truth. Motivation is not meant to last. It's emotional. It's temporary. It's like a gust of wind. It feels strong when it hits you, but it fades the moment the storm passes. That's why so many people start strong and end weak. They rely on feelings instead of habits, on hype instead of hunger, on the rush instead of the routine. But consistency, that's different. Consistency is the force that builds what motivation can't sustain. It's the quiet power that takes that spark and turns it into a steady flame. One that doesn't go out when life gets dark. When you first start chasing your goals, motivation feels like your best friend. Your best friend. You're excited, inspired, driven. You make plans, set goals, and tell yourself this is the time you'll finally change. But then life hits back. You get tired. You get busy. The excitement fades. That's when most people stop. They wait for motivation to come back like it's something magical that will rescue them. But it never does. Because real success isn't built on emotion, it's built on consistency. Motivation can get you through a day. Consistency gets you through a lifetime. Motivation is about how you feel. Consistency is about what you do regardless of how you feel. Think about it. The best athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the people who seem unshakable, they aren't motivated every day. They're not waking up each morning with fireworks in their chest, their music playing in their head. Most days they don't feel like doing it either. But they do it But they do it anyway. Why? Because they understand that motivation fades, but habits don't. They've trained their minds to move whether they're inspired or not. They build systems around discipline, not moods. They show up every single day, not because they want to, but because they've made it who they are. That's what separates the consistent from the average. One relies on moments, the other relies on mastery. Consistency builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and actually do it, you prove to yourself that your word means something. You build a foundation of self-belief that's unshakable. But every time you quit, every time you delay, every time you break your promise to yourself, you weaken that foundation. You teach yourself that you can't be trusted. You can't be trusted. And once you lose faith in your own discipline, everything starts falling apart. That's why people chase motivation over and over, because they're trying to replace consistency with energy, and that never works. Motivation without consistency is like trying to build a house on sand. It looks strong for a while, but the first storm will destroy it. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not loud. It's not exciting. It's the early mornings when no one's clapping for you. It's the late nights when no one's watching. It's the quiet grind when everyone else is asleep. That's where success is born. Not in the moments of hype, but in the repetition of the small things that nobody celebrates. Every day you show up when you don't feel like it, you're building something inside you that motivation could never give you. Resilience. You're teaching your mind that your emotions don't control your actions. You're building a version of yourself that doesn't break under pressure because you've learned how to perform without applause, without comfort, without excitement. It's easy to get motivated when things are going your way, when the plan works, when people support you, when life feels good. Anyone can grind then. But true consistency shows up when things fall apart. When you fail, when you're exhausted, when nothing seems to move forward. That's when the test begins. That's when you find out if you're really built for what you say you want. Because anyone can talk about their dreams, but very few can live the discipline required to make them real. Motivation will get you the gym the first day. Consistency will keep you there when the soreness hits. Motivation will make you start the business. Consistency will keep you building when you're losing money and no one believes in you. Motivation will make you post once. Consistency will make you master your craft until your name becomes undeniable. The truth is, success is just consistency in disguise. It's not a secret formula. It's not magic. It's the same action repeated so many times that it becomes second nature. People will call you lucky, but they didn't see the nights you stayed up, the mornings you sacrificed, the times you showed up tired, broken, or uninspired. They didn't see the years of quiet work that built the foundation for the life you now live. That's what consistency does. It compounds. The small effort you put in every day adds up, even when you can't see it. You might not notice the progress today, but it's happening. The results always show up later than the work, but they always show up. If you want to build something great, stop chasing motivation and start mastering consistency. Build a schedule and stick to it. Build habits that don't depend on your emotions. Decide that no matter how you feel, you'll show up. Because once you start living like that, life changes. You stop being controlled by circumstances and start controlling your direction. You stop reacting to your feelings and start commanding your future. You stop waiting for the perfect moment because you realize the perfect moment is now. The moment you decide to stay consistent. So the next time you don't feel like doing it, remember this: motivation is temporary, but consistency is forever. The person who wins is not the one who feels inspired the most. It's the one who stays committed the longest. Your power isn't in your emotions, it's in your endurance. It's in the ability to keep moving when the excitement dies, when the world goes quiet, and when nobody's cheering. That's when greatness is born. Because consistency builds what motivation can't sustain. A life of results, straight and unstoppable progress. When you master consistency, you'll never need to rely on feeling ready again. You'll already be ready every single day. The third key to staying consistent is understanding that discipline must become your default mode, not your backup plan. Most people live on impulse. They move when they feel inspired and stop when they feel tired. But real winners operate differently. Their standard is discipline, not emotion. They don't wake up asking, do I feel like doing this today? They wake up saying, oh, this is what needs to be done, and I'm doing it. Because consistency isn't built on feelings. It's built on decision. Every time you choose discipline over emotion, you strengthen your foundation. You're programming your mind to operate from purpose instead of weakness. That's how you gain power. Not by waiting for motivation, but by becoming your own source of it. Discipline is doing the work when no one is watching. It's making choices that align with your goals, not your moods. It's keeping your promises even when it's uncomfortable. Most people say they want success, but what they really want is comfort disguised as progress. They want the results, but not the repetition. They crave the praise, but not the pain. And that's why so many never reach their full potential, because they're driven by temporary emotion instead of lasting commitments. Your emotions change daily. When you live with discipline, you stop relying on the chaos of motivation and start building systems that carry you through when your energy drops. There will be moments when the grind feels endless. When you've been putting in work for months, maybe years, and you still haven't seen the results you hoped for. That's when most people quit. They lose faith because the reward isn't instant. But discipline keeps you moving when results don't show up. Discipline is the voice inside you that says, I'm not there yet, but I'm still going. It's the quiet power that refuses to negotiate with laziness. It's the inner force that drags you through the fog of doubt, through the fatigue, through the boredom, and keeps you locked in on the mission. Discipline doesn't come naturally. It's forged through repetition and resistance. Every time you push yourself to do something you don't feel like doing, you're strengthening that mental muscle. You're proving to yourself that your mind runs the show, not your emotions. Think of it like training. Every rep of discipline adds another layer of strength to your mindset. And just like in the gym, it burns. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't always feel rewarding in the moment, but when you stay consistent with it, the results compound. You begin to notice that tasks that once felt impossible become automatic. Things that used to take everything out of you now feel like routine. That's the power of discipline. It transforms difficult into doable. The truth is, discipline is not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not something that gets applause or likes on social media. Discipline happens behind closed doors when no one's watching, when there's no camera, no recognition, no validation, just you and the work. And that's exactly why it's so powerful. Because the moment you start living with discipline, you separate yourself from 99% of people who rely on external validation to keep going. You're not doing it for attention anymore. You're doing it because it's who you are. That's when consistency becomes identity. You stop saying, trying to be consistent, and start saying, this is just what I do. When discipline becomes your identity, success becomes inevitable. You don't need to convince yourself to work. You don't need to fight your excuses. The decision is already made. You wake up, you execute, and you repeat. And even when life throws distractions your way, the noise, the negativity, the temptations, you stay locked in. Because you know the mission. You understand that every time you give in to distraction, you're delaying your destiny. Every skip day costs you progress. Every excuse costs you growth. But every disciplined decision brings you closer to freedom. You see, discipline is freedom. That sounds like a contradiction, but it's the truth. When you live without discipline, you're a slave to your impulses. You're controlled by comfort, by laziness, by the path of least resistance. But when you live with discipline, you're in control. You choose your pain, the pain of effort over the pain of regret. Not just from others, but from yourself. And that self-respect is priceless. Because when you know you can rely on yourself to do the hard things, you stop doubting your power. You stop needing to prove anything to anyone. Your work becomes your proof. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about purpose. It's not about being strict for the sake of it, but about aligning your daily actions with your long-term goals. Every time you choose discipline, you're saying yes to your future self. You're protecting your potential. You're saying, I refuse to let short-term comfort destroy my long-term success. And the more you do it, the more it becomes second nature. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't think about it. You just do it. You gotta reach that level with your habits, where your success routine becomes automatic, where your default setting is do the work. And let's be real, there's no magic trick to this. Discipline doesn't just appear. You build it by doing what you said you do. Start small. Wake up when you said you would. Go to the gym even when you're tired. Put in an extra hour of work when you want to relax. Each act of follow-through sends a signal to your brain that says, we don't quit. Over time, those signals rewire your mind. You stop arguing with yourself about whether to act or not. You stop needing external motivation. You move because that's what disciplined people do. But here's the key. You've got to stay patient. Discipline won't give you instant rewards. It's a long-term investment. It's planting seeds today that might not sprout for months or even years. Most people quit before they see the harvest. Don't be one of them. Keep watering your vision. Keep tending to your habits. Keep grinding quietly, knowing that the payoff is coming, because it always does. When you master discipline, you become unstoppable. Not because you never feel tired or unmotivated, but because you act regardless. You'll have bad days, setbacks, and failures, but they won't break your rhythm. You'll keep showing up. You'll keep stacking small wins until they turn into massive victory. That's what it means to stay consistent, to operate from discipline, not emotion. The world doesn't belong to those who feel like it. It belongs to those who do it anyway. So decide today that discipline is not an option. It's your standard. And once that's locked in, no obstacle, no excuse, no emotion can stop you from becoming everything you were meant to be. Consistency isn't about doing big things once in a while. It's about showing up day after day, especially when nobody's clapping, nobody's watching, and nothing seems to be changing. The fourth keynote, embrace the repetition that builds greatness, is where the real heart of long-term success lives. Most people quit not because they're weak, but because they get bored. They want excitement, fast results, instant validation. But success doesn't come to the loud, it comes to the loyal. It belongs to the person who's willing to do the same thing again and again, even when it feels like it's not working. Because repetition is not punishment, it's preparation. Every time you repeat the process, the workout, the study session, the sales call, the late night grind, you are quietly stacking victories that the world can't see yet. You are engraving mastery into your soul, one small deliberate action at a time. Think about it. The greatest athletes don't master their craft by chasing variety. They master it by obsessing over the basics. The boxer throws the same punch thousands of times until it becomes instinct. The pianist plays the same notes endlessly until they blend into perfection. The speaker delivers the same message again and again until it carries power and conviction in every syllable. That's not monotony. That's the blueprint of mastery. Most people want success, but they don't want to endure the repetition that success demands. They want new, flashy, exciting, but true greatness is forged in the boring, quiet, repetitive work that nobody celebrates. You see, repetition builds rhythm, rhythm builds consistency, and consistency builds unstoppable momentum. And once momentum starts rolling in your life, it's almost impossible to stop you. Repetition is the bridge between discipline and transformation. You can't pray your way into success. You've got to practice your way into it. You can't just wish for a better body, better income, or better mindset. You've got to work those same mental and physical muscles daily. And when it starts to feel boring, that's when you know you're on the right track. Because boredom is the sign that you've entered the zone of repetition. And that's where the real growth happens. Your mind will scream for novelty, for distraction, for shortcuts. But the champions, the ones who truly rise, learn to silence that noise. They fall in love with doing the same thing with greater precision, greater focus, greater heart. Every repetition is a statement to your future. It says, I'm not giving up. I'm not satisfied. I'm still showing up. That's why repetition isn't just about building skill. It's about building identity. Each time you repeat a task, you remind yourself who you are and what you stand for. You teach your mind that you are dependable, that you finish what you start, that your word to yourself actually means something. And when you become a person who keeps their promises to themselves, you become unstoppable. Because most people break their own promises before the world even challenges them. But not you, not the one who embraces the grind, the repetition, the routine. You understand that those repetitions are shaping your future while everyone else is waiting for motivation to return. Here's the truth. Repetition doesn't just build greatness, it reveals it. Every day you wake up and repeat your craft. You're chiseling away at the parts of yourself that don't belong in your next level. You're not just building skill, you're burning away weakness. You're not just practicing, you're purifying. You're turning every ordinary moment into a brick of mastery. They don't wake up every day feeling inspired. They wake up every day and do what they said they would do. They've trained their minds to obey, not to negotiate. Motivation talks, discipline walks. Motivation inspires. Discipline transforms. Motivation will get you through a day, maybe a week. Maybe a week. Discipline will carry you through a lifetime. When you're driven by discipline, your life stops being controlled by circumstance. You stop reacting to how you feel and start acting on what you believe. Dude, that's where freedom comes from, the ability to move forward regardless of emotional weather. You stop being a slave to feelings and start becoming a commander of action. The secret is discipline gives you peace. Most people think discipline is about suffering, restriction, or punishment, but it's not. It's about liberation. It's about knowing you can count on yourself, that you can depend on your word, that no matter how rough life gets, you'll still show up. Discipline is the ultimate self-love. It's doing what's best for your future even when your present self doesn't want to. You might not feel like going to the gym, studying, building your business, or cutting off distractions, but discipline doesn't care. It's not emotional, it's strategic. It's the system that keeps you steady when motivation vanishes. It's the quiet confidence that builds over time when you realize you can do all things, not once, but every single day. That's when your identity changes. You stop calling yourself a motivated or a laissez, you just become consistent. Because discipline isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. The truth is, discipline will take you places motivation never could. Motivation might get you started on Monday, but discipline gets you through Friday. Motivation might help you dream, but discipline builds. Motivation gives you the high. Discipline gives you the results. And the results are where confidence is born. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you show up when you didn't want to, your self-belief grows. You stop doubting and start knowing. Knowing that you can rely on yourself. Knowing that no matter what happens, you'll handle it. And that's the foundation of unshakable confidence. Not words, not hype, but proof. That's why you've got to train your mind to love the grind, not the glory. To love the process, not the praise. Because discipline lives in the process. It's not glamorous. It's not Instagram worthy. It's sweat, repetition, silence, and small steps repeated endlessly. It's the voice that says, "Be just one more," when you've already done 10. It's the force that says, "Keep going," when the world tells you to stop. Discipline doesn't make you feel powerful. It makes you become powerful. Because power isn't found in emotion. It's found in execution. Every single day, life will test you. It will ask, how bad do you really want it? Motivation will crumble under pressure. Discipline will push through it. Motivation is the spark that starts the engine. Discipline is the fuel that keeps it running. And when everyone else runs out of gas, discipline keeps you alive. It becomes your edge, your weapon, your advantage. Because no matter how talented the competition is, they can't out-discipline you. They can out-talk you, out-style you, out-hype you. But they can't outwork you if your discipline is relentless. And here's the most powerful part. Discipline becomes automatic. When you do something long enough, it becomes who you are. You stop fighting yourself to do the right thing. It becomes natural. You stop asking, or should I? And start acting without question. That's when you become dangerous, because now you're not moved by emotion, you're moved by purpose. You're not chasing consistency, you are consistency. So remember this, motivation is a feeling, discipline is a decision. Feelings fade, but decisions define your destiny. If you want results, stop chasing the hype. Build the habits, do the work, stick to the plan even when the fire dies. Let the world talk about being inspired while you focus on being unstoppable. Because in the end, the world doesn't reward the most motivated. It rewards the most disciplined. The sixth keynote, let your actions speak louder than your words, is about a truth that separates talkers from doers, dreamers from builders, and pretenders from performers. It's easy to talk about what you want. Everyone does it. People say they're going to change, going to start, going to grind, going to level up. But saying it doesn't mean anything if you don't move. The world is full of people who promise, who plan, who talk about their goals like they already earned them. But the real ones, the ones who make it, they don't say much. They just move differently. They show you through their actions that they're serious. Their effort speaks, their habits speak, their consistency speaks. Because when you're truly focused, you don't have time to talk. You're too busy doing. The truth is, everyone wants to be seen as hungry, driven, motivated. But the people who actually change their lives don't need to announce it. They let the results tell the story. And the reason is simple. Energy spent talking about success is energy stolen from achieving it. Every time you open your mouth to explain your grind, you lose momentum because words are cheap. Execution is expensive. Anyone can say they're going to wake up early, hit the gym, study hard, build their business, or chase their dream. But most never do. They talk because it feels good. Talking gives the illusion of progress, but it's fake progress. It's a dopamine hit that replaces the real work. Action is uncomfortable. It's heavy. It's uncertain, but it's real. And only the real creates results. When you decide to let your actions speak, you silence the world's noise. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it. You stop needing validation, approval, or recognition. You stop caring about who's watching and start focusing on what you're building. You understand that the grind doesn't need an audience. Your growth doesn't need applause. Your growth doesn't need applause. Every step you take in silence adds weight to your voice when it's time to speak through success. You don't need to convince anyone. Your transformation will do that for you. Think about the greats. The most powerful people in this world didn't announce every move they made. They didn't talk about their next project, their next plan, or their next win. They just worked. They moved in silence. They executed relentlessly. And then one day the world woke up to their results. That's how greatness works. It's built in private, then revealed in public. It's formed in the unseen hours when no one's clapping. It's shaped by action. Small, consistent, daily action that nobody but you knows about. You gotta get to a point where you're allergic to excuses, allergic to empty talk. When you say something, it should mean something. Your words should carry weight because they're back proof. If you say you're going to change, change. If you say you're going to start, start. If you say you're all in, then act like it. Because nothing destroys credibility faster than saying one thing and doing another. You can't expect people to believe in you if you don't give them a reason to. The most powerful way to earn respect from others and from yourself is to show up consistently, without explanation, without show, just action. Action builds trust, not just with people, but within yourself. Every time you do what you said you do, your confidence grows. You start believing your own words again. Because let's be real, a lot of people don't even trust their own voice anymore. They've broken too many promises to themselves. They've said, I'll start tomorrow too many times. They've talked about changing, but never did. And every time you do that, you weaken your own belief. But when you act, when you execute without hesitation, something shifts. You start to rebuild integrity within yourself. You start to respect your own word again. That's why you need to move like you have something to prove, not to anyone else, but to yourself. Prove that you're not like the old you. Prove that your habits are real. Prove that you can be trusted with the life you say you want. Because your actions are the evidence of your character. They're the receipts of your commitment. Talk might inspire for a second, but action transforms for a lifetime. People might doubt your words, but they can't argue with your results. Every time you act, every time you execute without explaining, you gain momentum. Momentum is built in motion, not in discussion. The reason most people never reach their potential is because they get stuck in the talking stage. They want to feel ready before they move. But here's the truth. You'll never feel ready. You just have to start. You have to take that first step, that first risk, that first uncomfortable move, and keep going until your progress becomes undeniable. And once you do, you'll realize something powerful. Silence is your ally. You don't need to prove yourself through noise when your results roar louder than words ever could. When you stop talking and start doing, you separate yourself from 90% of people. You become dangerous, not because you're loud, but because you're focused. Because while everyone else is posting, you're practicing. While they're flexing, you're building. While they're chasing attention, you're chasing mastery. That's the difference between temporary hype and lasting success. You've got to understand, real power doesn't need to be announced. It's felt. And when you've been consistent long enough, when you've put in enough work in silence, the results will speak for you so loudly that you'll never have to again. Silence is power because it removes distraction. It keeps your energy pure. When you talk less, you hear more. You hear your instincts, your hunger, your drive. You learn to operate in the dark without applause. That's where warriors are made, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, putting in the work nobody sees. And one day when the lights hit, you'll be ready, not because you rehearse for attention, but because you practice for purpose. The key is patience. When you let your actions speak, you have to trust time. You have to be okay with not being noticed right away. You have to understand that real growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens in seasons of obscurity. The quiet years are not punishment. They're preparation. Every hour you grind unseen, every sacrifice you make without recognition, every day you stay disciplined while others relax. Those are the bricks that build your legacy. And when your time comes, the results will be undeniable. So stop announcing what you're about to do. Just do it. Stop telling people you're going to change. Show them. Stop talking about your grind. Let your work speak so loudly that no one needs to ask what you've been doing. Because when your actions speak, they echo longer than any words could. They inspire people without explanation. They command respect without request. They prove without a single sentence that you're not here to talk. You're here to conquer. The seventh keynote, a master the art of showing up every single day, is the heartbeat of consistency, discipline, and success. It's what separates those who wish from those who win. Everyone has big dreams. They want success, wealth, freedom, peace, recognition. But very few people show up for the process it takes to get there. They show up when it's easy, when it feels good, when the motivation is high. But the moment it gets hard, they disappear. And that's why they never make it. Because greatness isn't built in the days when it's convenient. It's built in the days when it's cold, when it's lonely, when no one is cheering for you, when the world feels heavy and your body says a no. That's the day that matters most. That's the day champions are made. Showing up every single day isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about being there for your own mission, even when your emotions don't want to cooperate. Because success doesn't care about how you feel. Your dreams don't care that you're tired. Your goals don't care that you're not in the mood. The world rewards those who show up anyway. When you wake up and move, even when it hurts. When you choose discipline over comfort. When you show up, even when no one's watching. That's when you're training your mind to win. That's how you build the muscle of consistency. The truth is, you can't control everything in life. The world will hit you with chaos, pain, setbacks, and distractions. But you can always control your attendance. You can always decide to show up. You can always decide to do the work. And when you master that, when you build that non-negotiable standard inside yourself that says, I don't miss, you become unstoppable. Because that's where momentum is born. Not from motivation, but from movement. Every day you show up adds another brick to your foundation. Every small effort compounds into something powerful over time. You might not see it today. You might not see it next week, but one day you'll look back and realize that every ounce of effort, every day you didn't quit, became the very thing that built your strength. People fail not because they lack talent. They fail because they lack consistency. They stop too early. They take too many breaks. They wait for inspiration. But life doesn't reward the talented. It rewards the relentless. And being relentless means you keep showing up no matter what. Even when you're doubting yourself, even when you failed before, even when your emotions are unstable, you keep showing up because the moment you stop, you lose momentum. And once momentum dies, it takes 10 times the energy to get it back. That's why showing up daily is a weapon. It keeps the fire burning. It keeps your purpose alive. You've got to understand that showing up is a mindset. It's not something you do when it's convenient. It's who you are. It's your identity. You wake up and go to work. Not because someone forces you to, but because you owe it to yourself. Bah! You made a promise to your future self, and every day you show up, you're keeping that promise. Every day you honor your word. You build inner trust. You start believing that you can rely on yourself. That's the kind of power no one can take from you. The confidence that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, I will show up. There will be days when you won't feel it. When you're drained, when your heart's heavy, when you're fighting battles no one knows about. But those are the days that matter the most. That's when you prove your strength. That's when you separate yourself from the average. Anyone can show up when it's easy. It takes a warrior to show up when it's not. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to do it. Oh, even 1% effort is still movement forward. Even crawling is progress. The key is not to stop. Because every time you show up on your worst day, you earn the right to thrive on your best day. Think about the seasons. There's no growth without consistency. The sun rises every day, no matter what. The waves keep hitting the shore, no matter what. The universe itself is discipline. And if you want to succeed, you have to align yourself with that rhythm. Show up every day. No excuses, no negotiations, because consistency creates evidence and evidence builds belief. Every time you show up, you prove to yourself that you're capable, and that belief becomes fuel. It's what keeps you going when everything else falls apart. But the reason most people don't master showing up is because they're addicted to results. They want instant proof that it's working. They want validation, applause, progress. And when they don't see it right away, they quit. But that's the trap, because the results don't show up first, you do. You plant before you harvest. You show up before you get rewarded. You trust the process before it pays off. That's how the greats operate. They commit even when there's no evidence of success yet. Because they know that if they keep showing up, the results have no choice but to follow. You can't be driven by emotion. You have to be driven by standard. Your standard says, I show up whether I feel like it or not. It's not up for debate. You don't wait for motivation. You become it. You don't wait for a good day. You create it. That's how consistency becomes identity. You're no longer the kind of person who quits halfway. You're the kind of person who keeps going until it's done, until it's built, until it's conquered. And here's the thing. Showing up daily doesn't mean you'll always perform at your best. It just means you refuse to disappear. Some days you'll crush it. Some days you'll barely make it through. But as long as you're still standing, you're still in the fight. Because even when your best isn't perfect, it's still progress. And progress over time compounds into power. It's those small daily victories, the times you pushed through fatigue, ignored doubt, and kept going, that build the foundation of greatness. You must treat your consistency like your lifeline. Protect it, guard it, because it's the only thing that guarantees progress. You don't have to be the most talented, the smartest, or the luckiest. You just have to be the one who keeps showing up, day after day, hour after hour. And over time, the world has no choice but to notice. Success isn't about brilliance, it's about endurance. It's about how long you can stay in the game while everyone else quits. So master the art of showing up. When you're tired, show up. When you're uninspired, show up. When no one believes in you, show up. Because that's how you turn ordinary into extraordinary, The more you show up, the more powerful you become. Your habits sharpen, your confidence grows, your life transforms. Every great thing that's ever been built started with someone who decided, I will not miss a day. And that's what you must decide. No matter how you feel, no matter how slow it seems, no matter how far away the finish line looks, keep showing up. Because the ones who win aren't the ones who got lucky. They're the ones who refuse to leave the battlefield. There comes a point in your life when you've got to stop talking about what you're going to do and start becoming what you said you would be. Because consistency isn't about what you promise. It's about what you prove. It's not about motivation. It's about movement. The world is full of people who had potential, who had talent, who had big dreams, but they disappeared because they couldn't stay consistent. They showed up when it was easy. They worked when it was convenient, but they vanished when life got hard. Because consistency doesn't give you results overnight. It gives you transformation over time. You see, the secret to success is boring to most people. It's not glamorous. It's not the highlight reel on social media. It's the early mornings, the late nights, the missed party, the quiet sacrifices of quiet sacrifices. It's waking up every single day and doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's saying, I'm not here to look motivated. I'm here to be disciplined. Because feelings come and go, but discipline, that's what builds empires. The people who win in life are not the smartest, not the most talented, not the luckiest. They're the ones who refuse to quit. The ones who grind in silence, who sharpen their craft day after day, who fail but still show up again tomorrow. You've got to understand, consistency doesn't just build your goals, it builds your character. It teaches you patience. It teaches you humility. It teaches you that real growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from commitment. Every time you stay consistent when it's hard, you're proving to yourself that you're becoming someone stronger. You're showing your mind that no matter how tired, no matter how discouraged, you still move forward. That's what separates dreamers from doers. It's not talent, it's tenacity. So tonight, make yourself a promise, a real one. No more starting and stopping. No more talking about what you're going to do someday. No more giving up because it's not happening fast enough. Stay consistent. Stay consistent. Even when you can't see progress, trust the process. Because one day you're going to wake up and realize all those silent, unseen efforts built the life you've been praying for. The grind you thought was breaking you was actually shaping you. And when that day comes, you won't need to scream that you made it. Your life will speak loud enough. So keep showing up, keep building, keep believing. Because consistency, that's the quiet force that turns ordinary people into legends.